This was my payment from Apple that just landed today. It blows my mind that this sort of revenue is even possible building apps, with no advertising costs, no marketing costs. What's even crazier is there's a simple formula I follow to make this a reality, and you don't need as many downloads as you might think. In this video, I'm going to share with you the secret strategy I've used to grow my app portfolio. Martin asks, how long do you keep your store listing the same to determine if the App Store optimization you've done is worth it or not? And this got me thinking. I've built over 50 apps. Most have failed, but a handful have gone on to generate good revenue. The ones that hit really hit. But how do you know which apps to focus on? I've talked a lot about keyword research. It's important. Go check my other videos. This will help you validate ideas and know which projects to focus on. But once you've launched your app, what's next? We all know Apple has a 6-month lag with App Store optimization. You launch your app, it gets a boost, then there's nothing for 6 months. If you don't know this, then keep up. I've been talking about this a lot. So there's no point touching the app for at least 6 months. This is step 1 of my strategy. Launch quick. Launch your app like launch it yesterday. The longer you take, the longer the process takes. The longer you take, the less apps you can build. With AI, there's no excuse. When I first started building, I was doing an app every month. 1 week for planning, 1 week for development, 1 week for debugging, 1 week for working with App Store rejections. Now you can do the whole thing in pretty much a week. But make sure the app works. Make sure the app isn't buggy. We don't want to release bad apps. Put time to make it good. Only make updates for bug fixes or urgent updates. No new features. I mean it. No new features. I released version 1.0 for free because there's no point adding monetization or extra time in an app that may not work. And at this point, all I'm doing is testing the App Store optimization, seeing if the App Store drives user downloads without spending any money on marketing. And while we're at it, avoid any extra costs like server backends, user signups. You don't need any of that at the moment unless you really want it. We just want to test the idea first with minimal time, minimal server costs. Okay. Got it. The next step, track user traction. You've done your keyword research, you've launched the app, and now you've waited. We did this all to see if the app has any traction. Can we get it ranking well on the App Store? Do people actually want it? Does it get any traction? But what is traction? Before my app is ever monetized, I know how much it will generate based on user downloads. For every 1 download, I will generate around about 50 cents to $1 when monetized correctly. I've got plenty of videos on monetization. Go check them out. The sweet spot is around about 500 to 1,000 downloads. Why, I hear you ask? It's really hard to get people to organically download your app. 500 is a threshold that's hard to reach unless you have a good app with good App Store optimization and plenty of reviews. Most apps just don't reach that threshold. Now, we've launched. We've tracked user downloads, everything looks good. But what now? The final step, we see if the app sinks or swims. Did the app reach the threshold? No. Oh well, on to the next one. Don't get emotionally attached. The only way you get attached is if you spent years of your life building it. Go back to step 1. Launch quick. It's important. By this stage, the app is 6+ months old. By now, you have an entire app portfolio. If this particular app didn't work, don't cry over it. Just move on. But let's say your app didn't fail. Let's say your app reached the magic number and it's generating 500 to 1,000 downloads per month. Now, you monetize correctly and you can be earning $250 to $500 a month in passive income. With no marketing, no advertising, it's your money. Check out my other videos on monetization strategy. Hooray! Truth is, you don't need hundreds of apps generating revenue. Most apps will fail, and that's okay. You only need a handful to succeed. And when they do, they really, really succeed. So to recap, launch quick. Get version 1.0 out quickly, with minimal time and minimal cost. Track user traction. Wait for at least 500 downloads per month. 1,000, just as good. Then let the app sink or swim. If the app works, lean into it. If the app fails, say goodbye and move on.